All right, today we're jumping into something pretty different. It's a worldview that says your personal survival skills are directly linked to this huge unfolding global economic crisis. It's a wild ride, a little alarming for sure, so let's get right into it. The source we're looking at today doesn't mess around. It kicks off with this line, and right away you can feel the urgency. It's like, hey, things are moving fast. You need to wake up and pay attention, like right now. So, here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at this guide to survive. We'll talk about principles for inner strength and then for outer action. After that, we're going to pivot to the big stuff, the economic warning signs, this idea of a new global map, and it all builds up to a pretty intense final warning. Okay, so where does a huge theory like this even start? Well, funny enough, it's not with global politics or Wall Street. It starts with you. The whole argument is that before you can deal with what's coming, you have to get yourself squared away first. You got to build that personal resilience. And the very first step, the foundation of it all, is what the source calls inner strength. It's all about getting your head right, fortifying your own mindset before you even think about taking on the world. And this is where it gets really interesting. It's not just about positive thinking. There's this emphasis on spiritual and mental clarity. The idea here is that if you're not open to wisdom, nothing else is going to work. It's literally the first and most important rule in the book. So how do you actually do that? Well, the source lays out a kind of daily routine. It's about making time to laugh and pray, standing your ground when things get tough, keeping your outlook bright, and not being afraid of your enemies. It's basically a mental workout plan, a defense routine for your mind. Okay, so you've worked on your inner strength. Now what? The focus shifts from your internal world to your external actions. How are you supposed to actually operate out there, especially when you run into people who are against you? And whoa, this is pretty blunt. This is maybe one of the most hardcore points in the whole thing. It basically says, look, when you're strong, you need to use that strength to get rid of your enemies. No mercy. The message is crystal clear. Sitting back and doing nothing is just not an option. But it's not all just about fighting. To be fair, the source also talks about being productive, contributing something positive. But even here, there's a strategic edge, like learn how to share, but the subtext is that you share so you'll have allies when you need them. And doing things based on convenience, that's pure strategy right there. All right, this is the big turning point. We've spent all this time talking about building yourself up, becoming the strong, resilient person. But you've got to be asking, why? What's all this for? And this is where the two halves of the story click together. The personal suddenly goes global. And the source basically asks that same question. Why do you need to be so strong, so ready, so strategic? And the answer is, because of what's happening in the economy. Right now. All this prep isn't for some far-off future. It's for an emergency that's supposedly already here. And boom, here's the first big piece of evidence the source drops on us. A single number. $5,000. The claim is that this is the price 1 ounce of gold hit this year. If true, that's not just a high price, it's a massive, flashing, red alert warning sign. And here's why that number matters so much, at least according to this perspective. Gold is like the canary in the coal mine for the economy. When its price shoots through the roof, it doesn't mean everyone's getting rich, it means they're scared. It means people are dumping their cash and running to the one thing they think is safe: gold. So, how do we get there? How does the source connect the dots? Well, the argument goes like this. All this economic fear, it's being caused by U.S. tariffs. But here's the twist. The tariffs aren't even working anymore because other countries have figured out how to get around them. And that means the money the U.S. was expecting, it's just not coming in. And this is where things get really wild. That drop in tariff money, it's not just some boring number in an accountant's report. The source claims it's literally redrawing the map of global trade. We're talking about a fundamental shift in who holds the power. Think of it like a giant game of chess. Step 1, the US puts up tariffs. Step 2, China's countermove. They build a massive new port in Peru. Step 3, this new port lets China sidestep the US completely, and US revenue takes a nosedive. So step 4, the US, desperate for cash and resources, supposedly makes a play for Venezuela's oil. Now, let's just pause on that for a second, because in the author's eyes, this is huge. That port in Peru isn't just a new place for ships to dock. It's a total game changer. It's a new trade highway that completely bypasses the United States, cutting it out of the picture financially and strategically. A massive deal. So this is it. This is where it all comes together. All the pieces we've been looking at, the personal advice, the price of gold, these new trade routes, they're all leading to one final and, frankly, very dramatic warning. The argument goes that the economic squeeze is so bad, the U.S. is forced to make another big move for resources. And this time, the target is Greenland. Now think about that. This takes the conflict from South America and puts it right on the doorstep of Europe by challenging Denmark. And there you have it. That's the end game, the ultimate conclusion of this whole line of thinking. This desperate scramble for resources, specifically this fight over Greenland. The source claims it could be the spark that ignites World War III. And just like that, the source brings this huge global threat right back to your front door. It's not some abstract headline anymore. It's the very real, terrifying idea that you might be sending your own kids, your 18-year-olds, off to war. And that, the source says, is why you needed to learn all those principles of survival we talked about at the beginning. So we end up right back where we started. A call to action for you, personally, that's based on this massive global prediction. The final message is urgent. Prepare yourself, get stronger, fix your life before it's too late. And it leaves us all hanging with one final kind of chilling question. In this version of reality, what does too late even look like?